Welcome to this edition of Ask the Preacher. Recently, I saw on a TV interview a question about the devil. As a matter of fact, the person that was being interviewed was a congressman who has been controversial of late, and the person interviewing is a fairly well-known atheist in our world. And when the congressman mentioned something about the devil, the interviewer said, "You really believe that there's such a thing as the devil?" "Oh, yes," said the congressman, and he got berated for it. I thought that was interesting. It certainly isn't the first time I've heard mention of this on public television or open airwaves or whatever you want to say. Many years ago, I heard an interview with Robert Schuller and Jerry Falwell, and I can't remember who the third preacher was at that time. But the interviewer at that time asked if they believed in an actual devil. And Jerry Falwell, of course, said, oh, yes. And Robert Schuller said that he did not believe in a personal devil. And I had to think about that one. And that doesn't mean like an individual attacker. That means more of a devil that's a personhood, if you will. Well, whatever it was. When I look at my Bible, it seems obvious that there is a devil and that there are demons. And I see no reason not to believe that they exist today. As a matter of fact, when you go to other countries, especially down in Haiti and some places like that, you see a lot more evidence of demonic activity. And it seems like in America that Satan kind of hides himself and wants people to mock others when they say that they believe there's a devil, kind of like what we're talking about with some of these things. Satan wants us to laugh at the creature with the horns and the tail and the pitchfork and the red pajamas and whatever as being impossible. But that caricature is easy to miss the reality, or makes it easy to miss the reality of the fact. Now, there are some that would say that Isaiah chapter 14 describes kind of the activity of Satan. And we can go back to the garden, of course, with Adam and Eve, and Eve being tempted and the serpent and all that. But Isaiah 14, starting with verse 12, says, "How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn. You have been cast down to the earth, you who once laid low the nations. You said in your heart, I will ascend to the heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit enthroned on the mount of assembly, on the utmost heights of Mount Zaphon. I will ascend above the tops of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. But you were brought down to the realm of the dead, to the depths of the pit." I think that this is descriptive of the attitude of Satan. Whether it describes his specific history, I don't know, because the New Testament does not reference this and interpret it for us. And so I'm somewhat cautious. I look at other passages. I look in Revelation chapter 12, for example. In Revelation chapter 12, there's a description of a dragon. And the dragon in Revelation chapter 12, it says, "A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven. An enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on its head. Its tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth so that it might devour her child the moment it was born." Now again, is that a description of Satan being cast out of heaven? Is it simply symbolic of the fact that a third of the angels of heaven followed him? Did they become demons? Well, there are a lot of questions about this. A lot of possibilities, I suppose. In James chapter 2, there's, to me, a definite reference to demons. Some will say, verse 18 says, "Someone will say, you have faith, I have deeds. Show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith by my deeds. You believe there is one God? Good. Even the demons believe that, and they shudder." A clear reference to demons. How about Matthew chapter 4, where Jesus is being tempted, and the devil comes to him after 40 days of fasting and lays out temptations before him? Can we deny the existence of Satan who would be able to tempt Jesus. And by the way, James 1 talks about how each of us is carried away when we're tempted by our own lusts and desires. But practice makes perfect. And the more we practice evil, the more that temptation comes from within ourselves as well. So the clear conclusion from Scripture is Satan exists, and he wants to take us away from God. He wants to be against God, and he has his own followers, if you will, his own workers called demons. Thank you for asking the preacher.